Have you ever felt that you're doing your grief wrong? I know it sounds like a funny question, doesn't it? But the thing is, there's so much information out there that's not correct. And so often when you're in grief, you start to Google, as we do, to look up, what should I expect? What should I be doing? And something that comes up a lot, of course, are the stages of grief. Now, these were written by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross for the terminally ill, not for the griever. And so you can imagine when you get this bad diagnosis that you're angry, that you want to deny it, you want to bargain if I do this, and you get depressed and then finally come to a place of acceptance. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen in some way or shape or form as you grieve, but I can remember looking, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not bargaining. Am I doing it wrong? And so we can look these things up on Google, and then we get worried that we're not doing our grief correctly. People tell us, don't worry, time heals all wounds. Well, it doesn't heal all wounds. The fact is, grief stays with you. You have to learn how to integrate it and live your life. But it isn't time, it is the active part that you play in your grief, the mourning, the expression of emotions, the allowing of emotions, all of these things. And I think it's really important for you to know that you're not doing your grief wrong. Everybody grieves in their own particular way. And that depends on so much more than any stages of grief. Depends on who you are. What was your relationship? Who was it that died? How has grief been modeled to you in the past? Have you grown up with keep calm and carry on, which is what I did? Don't talk about it, don't feel it. Well, that has an impact on the way that you're going to grieve, doesn't it? Was it a long relationship? Was it a short relationship? How are you physically? How were you when the death happened? Were you already somebody who was anxious or depressed? This can magnify it. What sort of support do you have? That's a huge factor in how you're going to grieve. And so you can see that despite somebody else having lost a husband and you maybe having lost a husband, you'll grieve totally differently. Maybe in a year they're feeling pretty good and they're dating again. Maybe you're still on the sofa thinking, I can't even imagine getting up. I can't go back to work. We're different. And neither is right or wrong. And I think this judgment of how one should grieve is partly a societal one, isn't it? Because we don't talk about it. And therefore people are uncomfortable with it and they want you to get back to normal, which of course you don't. It's different. And they want you to cheer up and they want to fix you because they care. They don't want to see you in pain. And it is hard to see people you care about in pain and you want to cheer them up and make them feel happy. And the thing about grief is, if you're grieving, you have to experience it. You can't push it aside. I tried doing that. Let me tell you, it didn't work. I burnt out. We have to learn to feel it. We have to allow ourselves time. The amount of time we need is going to differ between you and me and Sally down the road. And that's okay. And so I'm here to really say today, don't feel judged. Don't judge yourself. I should be doing it better. I should be over this by now. Why aren't I back to normal? We all ask those questions. Am I doing it right? When will it be over? I can remember Googling that. How long does grief last? There's no answer. There's no answer. I think the thing is that we learn that grief will stay with us, but it changes, we change, it softens, we're able to expand around it. There's so much and it is so complex and it affects every facet of our life. And because each of us is different, it affects us in a different way. So I just wanted to pop on here to say, don't judge your grief. Don't let others judge your grief. You're doing it as you need to in your own way, and you are not doing it wrong.